the next morning. Let's see how these repairs came out. Hope this is okay. There's morning light coming in the window. Okay, well this piece glued up really strong. It's firm. Our patches are in here nice. Let's just clean them up a little bit. Fine. Let's take a look at this groove here. Get the tape out. Wow, that's not too bad. I don't know if you can see that, but that is not bad at all in that groove. I should be able to get that glue out with a small chisel. So I think we're good to go here. There's my hinges. Ugh. Lost a screw. I see it. I see it. Don't take your eye off it. Ugh. Okay. So let's get these hinges on and see how everything lines up. So the hinge is only going to go one way, right? If you mount it like this, it'll close. But if you had mounted it like this, it will not. So you really only have one way to go with these hinges. And what I like to do is register the edge of the hinge with the edge of the box. And I have something here called a VIX bit for my drill. And this has a bevel that's going to register and center this in the screw hole, like so. And then when you put pressure on it, the drill bit comes out and pilots for the screw. So just my thing, this side of this leaf has the barrel attached to it, and this leaf has this inner piece of the barrel attached to it. I always like to use the barrel on the main structure and the center leaf on the lid. So I'm going to use this VIX bit to center this hole. Get in a screw. I do one screw at a time because otherwise you might move a little bit between pilot holes and that could throw you off. I think I might have moved a tad here. I did. I came off that my inner edge just a little tiny bit. I think I'll be okay. Now I'll register that one parallel. Pilot it. Get this second screw in here. Pardon my hands. Trying to work awkwardly around the camera, but I want you guys to get a look. Okay. Hinge is what I was talking about. There's a good gap on this hinge right here. I think you can see. I'm hoping I recessed the lid enough that we get a flat close, but we are about to find out. So let me go and do the same process on the lid, and we'll see how this puppy fits. I've got the lid supported here by a clamp and lined up, so we'll pilot for and insert the next screws. let's see what we got. Wow, we got some tweaking to do. All right, so we just have a few adjustments. I am somehow proud back here and obviously short up here. So we've got to figure out how we can readjust these screws, move those holes over just a little bit. We'll put some fill in there. So let's see. So this piece here is going to have to move forward, and then this side should be fine. All right. So let me do some work on that, and I'll get back to you. Okay. So I'm a little perplexed trying to find out what's going on with these hinges, but the box is perfectly square. The lid is perfectly square. My top is 7 7/8. My box is 7 7/8. Up on this end, 7 7/8. Up on this end, 7 7/8. So everything is square and true. The hinges 11/32. A tad longer up. Actually, this hinge is off by about a 64th of an inch. Look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably not. Let's get you over here. This hinge is a 64th bigger, and this hinge in that direction, a little more than a 64th bigger. So that's some of it. The other thing is, I'm a little shy here, so I didn't hold that steady enough. Trying to keep my hands clear for the camera. Let's see what that amounts to. It's about a 32nd I lost there that I don't have there. And then on this hinge, I lost it a little bit under here, but that doesn't look like much at all. That's just a strong 64. It doesn't ring to a 32nd. So just a little tweaking. I think what I'm going to try to do, and I think that's a standard 1-inch hinge. That's an 1.5 inch hinge. I'm going to try to, do I want to do that? So I could try to move this hinge over this way. We'll take these two screws out. We'll put some hardwood, little slivers of hardwood in those softwood holes, and that will push the screw over that way. We'll see what we get there. But I'm thinking I might just go find some better 1.5 inch hinges, because these are quite crappy hinges. And there's no way that I should be losing this at this corner by 1/8 of an inch. Just too much. I see the box, but I'm good here. You know, the 32nd or so, we can tweak that. So let me play with this hinge. I'll try to get you guys on camera when I do it, and we'll see if we can move that over. I don't think I'm going to get 1/8 of an inch though, but bear with me. Well, I told you I was going to take you through the whole project here, right? So we might as well deal with the problems that come up. But here's my story. Here's what we're going at. If indeed this measurement and this measurement are the same, and they are, and if indeed this box and this box are square, and they are, then if I set the edges of the hinges like so and like so, this box should close square. I mean, there's nothing else for it to do, right? Unless the tolerances in these hinges are the problem. And, you know, I can see a little bit, you know, here, for example, right now you can't see, I see no gap here. I see a big gap here and a big gap here. So it could be just the tolerance of the hinges. So I went in my stash of hardware and I found some very old brass Stanley hinges. How old? Well, I bought them at Rickles Home Center. So if anybody's from the Northeast U.S., you might remember them. They've been out of business at least 20 years. But they're made in the U.S. They're brass, and they're much better quality. If you can see when I bring these two together, how close that is. If you recall, these two were a good 1/16 inch apart. So I'm much more comfortable with the quality of these hinges than with these cheapos here. But if I put these on, I'm sharing the same screw holes. And like I said, I got a little bit of misalignment. Trying to reach over for the camera and all, I got to admit I didn't quite square it up. Nowhere near the 1/8 of an inch, you know, that we're seeing here. Maybe a 64th. So what I'm thinking is I've got another pair of hinges. These look like pretty good quality. They also have a larger gap when they close. But we've kind of allowed for that. We can deal with that. The reason I think I want to use these is I have different screw holes. Right, so I can remortise out to here and very carefully install these this time, you know, so that I got them dead on. So when I set this one here, I want it dead on to the edge of this box. So I would probably grab one of my setup squares that you see me use and actually use that to make sure that when I put this on, it is flush to the edge. I can see this one here, you probably can't. I'll give you a little guide, but you see a little 64th of a gap there that I screwed up that one. So by using the 3 holes instead of the 2, I could probably do a better job of doing this right. And if indeed these hinges are exact, and they are, they're perfectly the same, then the lid should close square. There's no adjustment, there's no nothing more than moving the screw holes a 32nd of an inch is about what you can do with these non-adjustable hinges. So let me take this apart. I'm going to close the lid and make sure that it is indeed registered properly, and if it's not, then I'll have to make an allowance in the hinge. But I'm sure it is. I checked it before I did these hinges. So let me go off camera, I'll reset up, and I'll be back. Well, I think I figured it out. So it's 3 things were combining to get me that horrible offset on the face of the box. So one was I did take too much stock off of the lid when I planed this flush. All right, so if I use my setup block to make sure that the lid and the front of the box are exactly square, I have a 1/16 of an inch here that is off. And that's the same measurement if I square up on this end. I've got my 1/16 of an inch down there. So the lid is a 1/16 of an inch narrower than the box when everything is taken into consideration. And that's an equal reveal right down the side. And that was from planing this smooth once I flushed the lid up. And that's just me being not thinking. I didn't think that a couple of plane passes were going to be that much, but well, there you have it. They were. All right, the second tolerance issue was on the placement of these hinges wherever I've put them. So as I was trying to reach over for the camera and do the screwing and the drilling and all, I did not maintain this. All right, I played with the new hinges, and I got the alignment right this time, and I left the offset in the back, and we have a much nicer fit now. I could probably sand that to flush. It's very, very close. What I did back here was, again, I widened the mortises for the hinges. I took extra care to keep them right. I set them back a 1/16 inch here and a 1/16 inch here to pull that top forward to compensate for this difference, which is now revealing in the back where I don't care. And we got a good lid and we got a good fit. So we are going to now I guess our next step will be to divide this top and fit the plexiglass. And then we can put on the handle, put on the catches, and I don't know, final sanding and a quick coat of shellac, and call it a day. All right, I'll be back. And plexiglass will cut just fine on a table saw with a combination blade. Slow feed rate. Don't go too fast, but cuts nicely. Okay, so that is my 7-inch width. Yep, and I need to get this 16 7/8 long. Let's get the cross cut out. So stop for 16 7/8. Right there. Make sure you can see that. I think you can. As always, I'm going to square an edge. Leave a little. There I have my 16 7/8 by 7, which is what I was looking for. Okay, so I got the plastic plexiglass cut to fit in here. It's going to slide in that groove on the bottom. Stand this up so you can see. It's going to go in that groove in the bottom and then close into the top. But we've got these hinge positions that we had to change. So let's take a second and give ourselves a broad gap here. It doesn't have to be precise. Okay. Give ourselves a nice margin there. Nice dark pencil marks that I'll be able to see. And let's check the depth of that slot. I think it's 1/4 inch. And it is. So we'll come up here. Let's give it an extra 1/16 for clearance. Here, extra 1/16 for clearance. Extra 1/16. Extra 1/16. Draw that line. Okay, so I've got to evacuate all this material, so I've got clearance around that hinge, and it can drop into the slot. I'm going to try to do that with my handheld jigsaw. I think I might have a fine blade for that in the stash here someplace. How's that? That's not too bad. It's got an up to the tooth bevel. Metal cutting. What are these skinny guys right here? I like that. Okay. Selection made. I'm going to put that in the jigsaw, set you up, and be back with the cuts. All right, I've got that that shorter, finer blade in the jigsaw, and I backed the plexiglass with a piece of 1/4-inch plywood and clamped it to the bench. I'm not worried about this blade cutting the plexiglass to do a fine job, but I am worried about it bouncing around and possibly shattering. So let's see how this works. Okay, nothing exploded. Everything seems to have come out okay. Get rid of this tape. Unclamp it. Separate it from the plywood here. And I think you guys can see that still. Let's see how that goes now. And there we have it. We got our plexiglass that will fit in there fine. So the next step is to accommodate these screw hooks, which I have here somewhere. So we'll put one of these here with a slotted hole in the plexiglass, and then we'll just twist it to hold this in place. We'll do another one right here, and I need to put a finger pull right here so it's easy enough to remove and insert the plexiglass. And why don't I get on that now? Okay, at the drill press, I'm going to drill a couple of holes. Let's see if we can't take out some of this plate. I'm not going for extreme accuracy here. bitey. Okay, and we can finish that off with a file or a Dremel or something. A little bit of that right there. Okay. I'm just going to take a file now and clean up some of these holes I made. Hope you can see that. Make them functional and make them look decent, right? And finally, it's about time to get some hardware on here. I've already set one side over here, and I'm sure you can see that on the camera, but what I did was I just set my square to 3 3/4 so I can make sure they're evenly spaced. And then I'm just lining it up with the seam in the box, using my Vicks bits to center the holes. Pretty simple hardware installation here, nothing too tricky. As you can see, I've got this box taped closed tight, but I still want to put a little tension on this upper one. Make sure we got a good bite. Even it out. Keep tension. Set a screw. Get one in there. Okay. And that should do it, but let's try it out. Gotta move you. And let's see how that worked out. Get this tape off of here. And we're good. I'm going to put the rest of the screws in there now that I know it's good, and start figuring out that handle. Well, these leather handles aren't as simple as they may appear. You can't just kind of lay it down, screw it on. You got to figure out that you want it to lay flat when you don't need it, but you want to be able to expand it up and get your hand under it to pick up the box. So I've been playing around with some holes on the test board and found out that, which two are they? I think it's this set here, that 7 5/8 is a good spacing to get between these two holes, sets of holes. So what I did on my box to lay that out was I found center, and then I split the 7 5/8. So when I do stuff like that, I do it in my head. So first I split the 7, that's 3 1/2. Then I split the 5/8, that's 5/16, and make a mark, and then go over here and do the same thing. Try not to keep the fractions in your head, just split them in your head. 7 5/8 is 3 1/2 plus 5/16. Get them across like that, and you wind up with your 7 5/8 between those two lines. So now, I also lightly put a center line, I don't know if you could see it down the middle of the box, so I can eyeball that. And all I have to do is put this on the marks. Get one side drilled so I can tension that strap. I guess I could use a center the strap on this side. Where's my line? Can't see my line. There's my line. Man, I lost my own line. There it is. Push this in so I can tension it. And get the second two screws in. Did that right, this strap will lay flat like that, but when I need to get under it, I can pull it up like that. So I think that just worked. And I think we got a finished box. Well, finished except for the finish. Open her up. We got our lid storage compartment, we got our tool tray, and we got plenty of room inside for wood chips, really, right? No, we got plenty of room inside for our electrical supplies. So the next step is to remove the hardware I just put on, and I'll give it a couple of coats of whatever I got in the shop here. I found some of this. It's a water-based polyacrylic. I guess it's water-based polyurethane. Not sure I got enough, but it should. So I think I'll use that. This way I don't have to worry as much about the fumes and the flammability. Take the hardware off. I'll give it a quick sanding. I will give it a couple of coats of that sprayed on, and then we'll take a look at the finished box, see how everything fits in it. Yeah, here's a little tip I thought I'd share with you guys. Sometimes you get a can of spray finish or that you haven't used for a while. This one's probably a few years old, and you know it's clogged. It doesn't want to spray right. So one trick that I found is to go over to if you have on your wire wheel, look for a rogue wire sticking out there and just clip it off, and then that little piece of wire is usually, I don't know if you can try so I get in there, it's usually about the right size to get in there and clean out that nozzle. Obviously get all the gunk off the face of the nozzle first, that'll be all covered up, and then you can get that little guy down in there, clean out that nozzle, and it works about 99% of the time. Alright, just something I thought I'd share with you. Sorry about that. Okay, that was the second coat, and that should be enough. Again, just a utilitarian box. Want to keep smudges and dirt and stuff off of it, but you know it's going to get banged around pretty good in the shop when I'm using it. So I think 2 coats just to seal it up and protect it is the way to go. Let's get that dry. We'll get the hardware back on, and we'll start putting stuff in it. I can't wait. Well, here we have it. Finished box. It's worked out well, maybe even a little better than I hoped, because I'm able to get some additional stuff in there. There's my top section, and I was able to get my battery tester and my plug-in diagnosis machine in the upper section, which I didn't think I was going to be able to do. I got the tachometer and the inline meter along with the multi-tester. So, you know, that was a good feeling to get that done. In my upper tool tray, I got more than I thought I was going to get in there, you know, with plenty of room to spare. So all those tools are readily accessible. I even got an inline spark tester in the upper bin, and I like that. And then we can quickly remove this tool tray as designed, and I've got all my solder and wire and connectors and shrink tubes and jump cables and everything I need down in there. So very happy with the way it came out. Yeah, again, better than I hoped regarding space and room and what's accessible in there. I feel really good about this project, and I want to thank you folks for all sticking through it. The ones of you who did, you know, we covered a lot of detail, and you know, even some mistakes, right? I think it's important to know that you know, it's hard to get through any project without a mistake. So that little hinge fiasco was I think worth seeing, right? I could have edited around that, but I think it's important to know that you know, these type of things are going to happen as you go through a project, especially an original design where nobody drew the plans or tried it out before. You know, you're going to come across things that you're going to have to try to fix, and hopefully I was able to share some of that with you in a way that is helpful. One other thing I thought of, and if you were here from the beginning of the video, you know that this thing is going to sit sideways on the bottom of my mechanics tool the chest out there, so it might be hard to get out. So what I'm thinking of doing is adding a handle about here, and then I can grab it and pull it out from that bottom shelf. This particular one I think is too large for there, but you know, they're readily available. I can pick one up at the home center and do that. So I think I'll throw one of those on. That will be an add. As far as my 2 lifetime supply of crimp connectors, what I think I'm going to do is just take an assortment of excuse me, 20 or 30 of each and put them in these little plastic Ziplocs and throw them in there, and then take these cases and store them elsewhere because I may not need them. I mainly use the 18 and 20 gauge connectors most of the time, which are the red ones. Almost never use the other color, so we'll do that, and that's how I'll put some more connectors in the box and have them at the ready. Thank you everybody for following the video. It was a lot of fun sharing some of this stuff with you. You know, I know I took it to extreme detail in terms of, you know, layout, sizing, milling, cutting, fitting, all the details. But again, I think that's something you don't get in a lot of woodworking videos. And if you're the type of person who likes to see that, or if you're a beginner and you're trying to understand the steps you take to do a project, then maybe that was helpful. Please comment, let me know what you thought, about the format, about anything in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I want to keep bringing this stuff to you, and your comments definitely help me. Have fun in the shop, everybody.